Hello everybody. Alright, so today's video is kind of linked to the other videos I have when it talks about getting advice, linked with motivation, everything of that nature. It's talking to one of my consultants, and he kind of put it into a perfect term, the type of things I'm trying to explain to everybody out there. When I told him the type of message I'm trying to put across on this channel, the type of message that I put across to my leaders when I talk to them, when we have our huddles, I guess he couldn't have put it more perfect. Basically, you're only motivated to get motivated. Now let's elaborate on that. So if you've been watching my channel, or if you're new to my channel, this is what I normally talk about, is that a lot of the times when we go to when we hear a motivational speech, when we go to a seminar, a leadership seminar, a personal growth seminar, a career growth seminar, anything of that nature that's supposed to be a positive, uplifting speech, all that works, all that. But what happens in these type of seminars, in these type of positive meetings, you get emotionally triggered, where you get pumped up, you feel super motivated, you get inspired. So what happens is that feeling, just like the feeling of happiness, just like the feeling of fear, just like the feeling of regret, just like the feeling of embarrassment, it passes. When you get embarrassed, let's say you're driving, like right now I'm driving, and let's just say I cut somebody off. I'm gonna get embarrassed, and I'm probably gonna feel that embarrassment for maybe I don't know, maybe like the first hour of my day, because obviously, I don't want to be that type of person that just does things like that, cut somebody off and then is not careful. So what ends up happening is that it's no different than somebody who's motivated. The motivation, you have you basically have a time limit to use that motivational feeling to your advantage. If you're in the position of being motivated, write some notes down. Update your calendar. Text someone things you need them to get done. Talk to somebody about what motivated you. This will hold you accountable if you're going to talk about things you want to get done. Now, a lot of people say, don't tell anybody your plans, surprise the world, keep a secret. And I understand that. I mean, there are verses where it talks about, being humble and keeping your ideas to yourself until they happen. But normally it's not my thing. I like to share my ideas because now it holds me accountable that I gotta get them done. If I don't get them done, I put my reputation on the line. So when I'm motivated, I share these ideas and I write them down, and I send text messages to myself, and I write things on my arm to be like, yeah, that's got to get done, and then I give it a deadline. This way I'm working towards what the reason I'm motivated for. But most of the time when we go to these seminars, we go to these conferences, whatever you want to call them, um, people get motivated, people get pumped up, people start cheering, people start, um, you know, thinking, man, how am I gonna apply this to work? How am I gonna apply this to my own, let's just say my own business that I want to start. So here's the issue when it comes to applying your motivation is that we normally are applying this motivation to other people's dreams. It's not a bad thing, okay? Obviously, if you work for somebody, you're working to fulfill their dreams. No, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I actually encourage to make your boss's job easier, because that's only going to set the expectations for when you have people under you that are trying to make your job easier. So yeah, I'm all for working for your manager, working for your boss, working for your leader, and learning the correct ways to do that so that you can duplicate that and become a great leader yourself. So, but here's the thing, is motivation is really closely linked to our emotions versus our logic. And I do separate the two. You could say they're the same. You could say they're in the same realm, but no. Logic is our perception of what we hold logic. So it can change, but logic does differ from your emotional state. And I use the example of you're sick, you're tired, you're exhausted, but you have a 1-year-old baby that's crying, or months old baby that's crying, and you got to get up and feed them. That requires zero motivation from your part. That requires your conviction to say, like, hey, I better feed my baby, or my baby's gonna starve, and you get it done. No questions asked. Nobody needs to put a gun to your head. You get it done because you get it done. So that requires no motivation. That requires no inspiration. It just needs to happen. So back to what I was saying is that when you change your baby, your emotional state is kind of like, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, but you still get up and do it. Now, when it has to do things with being motivated for our career, for our job, for our own personal business, we tend to lag it sometimes when we're motivated, because we are mainly basking in the feeling of motivation. So like you said, we're motivated to get motivated, unfortunately. So how do we break this? And you would think, oh, Danny, you can't just be giving the answer here on YouTube. Hey, you know what? I give this value. Obviously, for these services that I have to offer, I'll elaborate more in my seminars where, obviously it's part of my business, my career, but I have no problem sharing this because, there's more complexity to it. But really, the one thing you have to do when you're motivated is you have to be selfish. Now, all of a sudden your brain clicks and it's like, selfish? That's bad. Yes, we've been conditioned to think the term selfish is linked to something negative. Well, I'll give you an example. Let's just say you have a mother who's very selfish. They're selfish because they want to they don't want to deal with anybody else's kids. They just want to make sure that their kids get into the right school, get the right education, get their homework done, get to wear the clothes that they want to wear. So the money they invest is solely in their family. Yeah, that mother's being selfish. So I encourage that type of selfishness. I'm selfish for my kids. I'm selfish for my employees. I'm selfish for the people that I encounter that require my help. So, yeah, there's a little bit of wordplay there, but that's still being selfish. Do I get a good feeling out of helping somebody? Of course I do. I'll be lying to you if I tell you I didn't. But because, we're selfish. Now I'll go into biblical terms. Here's one that I might get some criticism for. Again, I'm not looking to get all the subscribers on this channel or anything. If anything, all I'm doing really is pretty much practicing what I'm going to say regardless in public. When you die and go to heaven or somewhere else, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter who prayed for you at that time. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if your family all goes to church and you don't. At the day of judgment, you're gonna be judged. So even in a biblical term, even in the sense of where you go when you die, depends solely on your actions. So if you need to take time for yourself to connect with God, take that selfish moment to know that whatever actions you take is gonna get you into heaven. Yeah, you got to put that work in. You need to be selfish, because let's say you're out there helping the world out, but you disconnect from God. Yeah, pretty much that's not really gonna give you a good. It's not really gonna give you a clear path. You also got to work on yourself. So if I offend anybody, I'm sorry. Again, you don't have to take any of my beliefs. I'm not pushing them on you. I'm just giving an example using what I have. When I give examples about martial arts, I don't expect people to get offended because they're not martial artists. They can just click away, or they can just listen to it and be like, I can apply it to my own thing. If I'm using religion to apply my example, just get my example and apply it to something else. That's all you got to do. I'm not preaching here. I'm just, that's what I'm saying. So back to motivation. When you're motivated, you need to be selfish. You need to apply that emotion into something that you feel is important. So if you're at a meeting and it's for your job, and you're thinking like all this upbeat, all this uplifting talk is for you to get pumped up for your job, put your job on the side for a little while and apply that concept that you're learning to your life, and apply it to something specific that you want to work. So you got to be selfish there, because that motivation from point A to point C, there's a B point there that we tend to skip, because we normally don't. Just because we go to an inspirational seminar doesn't mean that our life changed. It just means that we're at a point C where we're really pumped up. But to be successful, to be proactive, to progress in our jobs, but then it dies down because you realize that that's not really your character. You need to go to point B and say, how can I apply this to something in my character, make it succeed, and now you have a concept that you actually used for yourself, and you can use that same concept for point C, which is your job, your business that you're trying to build, and so on. So again, I welcome your comments, your disagreements. Hopefully I didn't offend anybody, because my intention is never to offend nobody. Share what you want to say. Trust me, it won't bother me. Any negative comments, I'll leave them there. It's not really something that bothers me, because we all are entitled to our opinions. And if I'm here in a YouTube platform, then it means I'm allowing the public to speak. All right, guys, have a great day.